You know, you're a kid and you're like, I don't know why. I gotta break something. So my grandfather, being the smart man he is, he's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make that constructive. He put me in as many after-school and extracurricular things as you could find. Played football. I was a cheerleader for a little while. Did ballet. Then they put me in kung fu. Now I don't know what possessed him to do that, considering I was an angry child, and they're like, we're gonna teach you how to fight. Cool. Bad move.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to tell you two stories. One is how my grandma learned how much I knew about Kung Fu. And the other is how I learned that if you piss yourself, you lose the fight. That's just how it goes. It doesn't matter how big and how bad you are. You can be Liam Neeson fighting a toddler. You pee your pants, Liam. That's it. He won. So I went to a very small elementary school, Reddick Collier Elementary. There were horses near our playground. It was that small. It was basically like a farmhouse. Someone built a fence around. It was like, yeah, we can throw kids in there. It's pretty all right. And there was a kid there who sort of became my arch nemesis. And it was the teacher's fault, really. We had an assignment where we were supposed to write about one of our personal heroes. He wrote about Captain America. Nothing against the guy. I wrote about Cloak and Dagger. They're a lesser-known Marvel people, but they got their power because they did drugs. And the teacher was like, no, your hero can't do drugs. And I looked at this kid because I knew how Captain America got his powers, and he had to pay. So at the time, I was a child, so it was legal. But now, if I were to try something like this, I would break out in handcuffs. So I followed this dude for about a week. Because I was upset, and every time I tried to talk to him, he basically did the talk to the hand thing, which when you're a kid is devastating, because it never occurs to you could just keep talking. Or it didn't occur to me. He'd like put his hand up, talk to the hand, and I was like, crap, I'm stuck. The hand doesn't care about how angry I am. But you know who does care? Me. So, I plotted in secret, like the criminal mastermind we all know I am. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to fight this kid. And here's how it's going to go. We're going to show up. He's going to get angry. I'm going to get angry. We're going to fight. Half of that worked. I showed up and was very angry, and he was like, this was 2 weeks ago. I don't know why you're still stuck on this. But in my head, it was like a minute ago, and I was still pissed. But so if he wasn't going to fight me on my terms, I was going to fight him on my terms. I shadowed this kid for about a week. It was like the closest I've ever gotten to being a part of like the Secret Service or the Special Forces. I felt like a soldier. I knew this man's timetable in and out. He shows up at 7:05. He gets his breakfast like the rest of us do. He sits in the back corner. I'm going to sit across from him and just look at him. That's it. You can eat your breakfast pizza like nothing happened, like you didn't destroy me. All right. That was Monday. Tuesday, he threw an audible on me, showed up late, had a doctor's appointment. I still don't believe that. Hung out with his friends. They played kickball. I sat on the swing just watching. He thinks I forgot about it. Nah, it's not done yet. Wednesday rolls around. I did forget about it a little bit because the Scholastic Book Fair was there, and nobody can be mad at the book fair. And so I promptly got in trouble because I tried to start fighting the book fair. So when I say nobody, I mean no normal kid. I think we can eke out that I'm not exactly normal. Anyhow, I'll fast forward to Friday because he didn't do anything on Thursday at all. He just basically sat there staring at a wall, but I was watching and I needed him to know that. So Friday was when it was all coming together. We went to lunch. He got his food. He got his tray. He got his food. I got my tray. I got my food. He sits over in his corner. I switch it up. I sit at a different table. He doesn't see me. He thinks he's safe. Wrong. I'm a hunter. And I sense weakness. He gets up, dumps his tray, like you're supposed to, puts it in the window, says thank you to the dishworker. I'm following him the entire time. I've eaten nothing on this plate. I am just full of adrenaline and rage at this point. I am seeing red. dump my tray. He turns around. I'm still holding the tray. I think we know where this is going. He sure as hell didn't. He looked very surprised at first. And he quickly put it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I was very tiny and I didn't have a lot of muscles behind it, so it really was more of an annoyance. But, fun fact about adrenaline, if your body's not used to it and you were a child, you sometimes just piss yourself in the middle of the cafeteria. I don't know why it happened, but I learned that day that while he was upset and in pain, I had somehow instinctually lost that because he kept his composure. It is this incident that led to me and my grandma discovering how much I knew about Kung Fu. Spoiler alert, not a fucking lie. See, when I got in trouble in school and Granddad found out about it, it was like some simple corporal punishment, and then he like put me to work doing something to better myself. It's like, all right, I'll go cut the yard with scissors. I don't know why they told me to do something like that, but it kept me occupied, and I couldn't plot revenge because I was like, multitasking, still not a strong suit. Grandma, on the other hand, just goes, sit there, we'll deal with this when your grandfather gets home. Now all I have is rage and time. But I am also about yay tall and like rail thin. I know it doesn't seem like it, but puberty made everyone else hot. It turned me into the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I just sort of blew up.
You're beautiful.
I know I'm beautiful. I don't need you to tell me that. Look at me!
Yeah.
Goddamn icon. Anyway, back to me, this chair in rage. Grandma's moving around the house. She's real upset, slamming on things. And I don't like loud noises. That's just a personal thing. A loud sound usually means somebody's in trouble, and it's usually me. So when somebody slams a door, I immediately, no matter who it is, it wasn't me, unless it was, and I did what you told me to do when you told me to do it. Ask anybody I've ever worked with, that is a reflex. There's a mom. What are you doing here, buddy? No. You all right over there? All right. Pull up a chair. Are you sure? But my grandma keeps slamming things and is like making the usual veiled threats. I don't know if you ever grew up in a black household, but they get colorful. At one point, she gets real quiet, and I think I'm safe. I was like, Grandma, what you thinking about? All the things I'm going to write on your headstone. Okay, I'm going to go back over here and sit down and plot. So she gets real angry. She gets in my face. And at that point, I realized, Justice, you know Kung Fu. I have forgotten that I am a child and not, in fact, a like heavyweight bodybuilder. I'm just like, I know what I'm doing. It's good time. So I kick her in the stomach as hard as I can, and she doesn't go down and explode like I was imagining. And that's when I knew I had made a mistake. How many of you have seen The Matrix? In that moment, me and my inner self went to that little featureless white room and we had a conversation. Went something sort of like, so, you kicked her in the chest. Mm-hmm. You're gonna die now. Mm-hmm. You got two options here. You can stay here. That's not a good one. Mm-hmm. Or you can run. I didn't even like running then. I sure as hell don't like running now. But of the two options, she's already proved that I cannot defeat her in single combat. So I took the path of least resistance and tactically retreated, screaming out the front door as this lady walked behind me like a slow elderly Terminator, completely undaunted by everything that happened. Like when I kicked her, I expected like an ow or oomph or even like a change in expression, but she just... Target acquired. No! I run out the front door, and I run to the car because I know the car goes faster than my little feet. But I haven't quite put together, don't have the keys and I can't drive. So I'm just yanking on the car handle, convinced if I get inside, I will somehow escape the apocalypse that is slowly trudging towards me. But she's taking a moment, and I think I'm safe. I look at the door, the screen door explodes off the hinges. Children's memories are weird. I know it was nothing like this, but hear me out. She was scary. She looked like me, but bigger, like taller and a little bigger. My beard's better though. So she kicks open the front door, and the world goes into slow motion. I'm seeing her, I'm holding onto the car door, and fight or flight kicks in, and I knew fighting wasn't an option, and flight didn't seem like an option, so I just froze. Bad move. She calmly walks over to this little tree that we were growing in the front yard, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I know it's not going to be good for me. Now, young Justice remembers this tree being basically an oak and impenetrable by any form of human machine. He also remembers Grandma grabbing that thing by the root, pulling it out of the fucking ground, and trudging towards me like a troll. I repeat, an elderly woman uprooted a goddamn tree because I kicked her in the stomach. Do you see where the discrepancy is? You lost breath for a moment. I'm about to meet God. These are completely reasonable moves to her. So, I'm standing there at the car. She has equipped the tree and is trudging towards me, and there is nothing I can do to stop her. I know this. So I just embrace my fate and calmly get the shit kicked out of me with a tree for half an hour. Granddad comes home some many days later. So, kicked grandma, huh? Ah! Okay. We're not gonna do that anymore, are we? No, sir. You know what you're gonna do now? What? Replant that fucking tree. I just remembered one last Kung Fu story, because it was my favorite activity, even though I was bad at it. But I got better, spoiler alert. It mainly happened because I suddenly got more mass to throw around, and you don't have to be real good in fighting when you're big, you just gotta be bigger than the other guy. Like, really. Because, if you pick them up and put them down very, very fast, generally speaking, they don't want anything else to do with you. You just go on about your business. But in this class, I think I was going into middle school, 3 new kids showed up. These 3 kids didn't know me, I didn't know them, but I had an issue with them because they were better than me at everything, and I was not okay with that. I was very insecure. This is before I realized I am funnier than they are, and they can suck it. So, there's a twin pair of boys and their little sister. Each of them do 2 sports and Kung Fu. This is important. One does basketball and football and Kung Fu. One does soccer and baseball and Kung Fu. I have no idea what this little girl does, because at this point I'm not supposed to hit girls, so I'm just it's just me and these kids, and they were basically a menace the entire time I was there. How dare they grasp basic concepts better than me? It's their fault. So we get set up to spar, and I'm like, all right, I don't know which one of these kids is gonna get it, but I'm about to take out all of this aggression on them. It was the little sister. I knew she did soccer. You know what else she did? Gymnastics. Which means she was a ninja at 9. That's not okay. So I'm getting ready, we space out, and she's moving back and back. I'm like, all right, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this, because she's very small and a lady. And then she starts up like it's a floor routine, just goes into cartwheels and shit. And I'm like, okay, this is some Mortal Kombat shit. I am not prepared for this. How am I gonna survive this? I'm gonna hit her in the face real quick. And I'm gonna have to do some push-ups, but I'm not gonna die here. And she's going, and I'm seeing the momentum pick up. She stops dead in front of me, drops to a split. How many guys are in the audience right now? I'll give you 3 guesses what happens next.
Yeah.
A picture perfect. I haven't seen one to this day. A Mike Tyson-esque uppercut right to the crown jewel.
Counter cage?
And I'm just standing there, all of the rage and confusion in me with nowhere to go. I have been paralyzed. And I'm just standing there, and you can see a little tear form. And for a second I saw God. And you know what he said? Good luck. I passed out on the spot. I never did beat her, but I beat the hell out of her brothers. Once more, I've been Justice, and you guys have been amazing. Have a great rest of your night.